So, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jonnychipz Weekly. My name is John Lunn, aka Jonnychipz, and today is Friday, the 15th of July, 2022. This is episode number 81, Heatwave. So yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in again. This episode number 81 of Jonnychipz Weekly. Hope you've had a fantastic week at work. Whatever you've been doing this week, it's been a hot one over here in the UK. We've been on an amber warning. Temperature is rising, as they say. So yeah, heat wave is the name of this week's video because it's been, meltingly hot over here in the UK. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on with it. So usual format, we've got a few community call-outs. Been a little bit quiet on the community this week. Whether or not people are starting to break away and go on holiday, or there's just simmering down a little bit maybe in the community at the moment as we gear up for summer. So without further ado, let's jump on over to the desktop. So the first thing I wanted to call out, this was released a couple of days back now, but this is about some Azure Microsoft cost management updates effectively that were released in June of this year. Michael Flanagan, who's a principal PM at Microsoft, released this great article. If you are looking at all the kind of hints and tips and ways in which to try and save money with any resources that you're defining in Azure or across the suite, there's new APIs that are out that you can use to configure any alerting on budgets and things like that. So Michael has put together this great post here that kind of talks us through a good, sort of dozen or so ways that we can monitor cost alerts, manage our cost alerts, manage our budgets, prevent budgets from overrunning with action groups and sending those alerts out across a common schema. We can learn about how to use the cost management platform in Azure, and obviously get comfortable and familiar with that in terms of managing that on a regular cadence, so that we can keep on top of our costs. And really, they're talking about cost management labs and what's new. So you can see here with cost management labs, you can get a sneak peek of what's coming in the Microsoft cost management and can engage directly with the product team to share any feedback. So go and check that out. It's a blog article titled Microsoft Cost Management Updates June 2022, written by Michael Flanagan. So thanks for that, Michael. Right, community call-outs. First up, thanks to April Edwards, really, for bringing this to my attention. But from a perspective of an Azure developer, there's a new Azure Developer CLI that's just gone into public preview. It's going to help us, kind of build those cloud platform and cloud developer solutions quickly with templates, and the ability to kind of build and deploy and go through a testing process with templates and things like that. Plug straight into things like VS Code or your IDE of choice. Great to see. Go and check that out. Yeah, I don't know the easier way. If I click on that, where does it take us? So it's on the devblogs.microsoft.com. Just Google introducing the Azure Developer CLI, a faster way to build apps for the cloud. And you can see some great examples there that Savannah has put together for us on that blog article. Okay, next up, Heiko Bren, the Script Runner crew are back with another Ask Me Anything session, and this time it's with Jeff Hicks, who's a phenomenal person across the community, as everybody will know, in terms of PowerShell. The amount of efforts and work that Jeff has put into the community over the last X amount of years has been phenomenal. So really looking forward to that one. I'm going to certainly try and listen into this one myself. Undoubtedly going to be a great session there. So bookmark your diaries, August the 5th at 4 p.m. Central European Standard Time. So I think that's 3 p.m. UK time. So yeah, go and check that out. Go and follow Heiko and get that bookmarked. Shout out to Shabazz. He's doing a great video series at the moment where he's reviewing some books by some prominent community members. This time, video drop is on the book authored by Dwayne Natwick on SC900, the Security Fundamentals exam. So go and check that out. Shabazz is always doing some great content, always in and out the community doing some fantastic things. So go and check that out. And yeah, if you are looking to study for the SC 900 exam, go and check that out. And of course, go and check the book out as well. So thanks for that, Shabazz. So Mr. Ellaby has been up to some more videos, this time talking about autopilot. Okay, not strictly Azure as such, but at the same time, we're all interconnected. So Azure Autopilot, I'm changing the name. So autopilot in terms of deploying devices, you know, the title of this video, not autopilot versus autopilot. In this video, Dean takes us through the pros and cons and the ways in which we can deploy and manage our devices. So go and check that out. It's on the Cloud Management User Group YouTube channel. I'd go and follow Dean on Twitter. So at Dean_Ellaby. Thank you for that, Dean. And finally, in this community call, I wanted to call out Vukasin's daughter has made a fantastic little piece of artwork here with the Azure Cloud animated. As you can see there, we can stretch to use the Azure Cloud. So big shout out to Vukasin's daughter there. Great little, it looks actually pretty good. It's been done, been done on a paper, but I like the way that it's animated there as well. So big shout out. Everybody needs to get into Azure Cloud. So great to see that Vukasin's daughter is getting on board with that as well. Okie dokie. So quick pit stop to see what's going on in the wonderful world of the Welsh Azure user group this week. Okay, so 20th of July, 5 days from now, that's next Wednesday, we've got our next monthly meetup. This week is with Audrey talking about GitHub Actions and ADO pipelines. So which is the best way forward for us? You know, explore the different options in those two platforms. Really excited to see that. Oh, where have I gone? I just lost my post. There we go. Let's get back to it. Yeah, really excited to see that talk. And then again, we've got our very own Matthew Fatunka to come on to talk about a bit of an introduction to Azure Container App. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Like I say, 20th of July, starting at 6:30 p.m. BST. Do come along, say hello, join in, and yeah, we'll have a good bit of fun. And a quiz with some prizes, of course. So please do make sure you come along and say hello. Cool. And finally, I say finally, it's not finally at all. It's just, let's see what I've got going on this week. So Jonnychipz on the side. Let's have a little look. So straight up tonight, we've got episode number 6 of When Dev Meets Up. So if you've been following this series, it's been a really fantastic series, working with some great guys. So Robbie and Swami, you know, looking at developing and architecting this microservices e-commerce based solution. We've been walking through all the different stages, you know, trialing and playing with different ways of deploying, different ways of configuring, right the way from, you know, episode 1. If you check out the introduction video, you should be able to see what this is all about. But from episode 1, actually developing that microservices code, that API, and focusing on how do we develop that, the kinds of ways in which we can develop it. You know, Swami delved really deeply into some of the coding techniques and how to use you know, certain parts of Visual Studio as an IDE in order to build and develop that API. Right the way through then into how do we run that, how do we test that, you know, using Postman, using local Docker desktop, you know, things like that. We delve into Azure Container App, Azure Container Instances, right the way through into Kubernetes. And this week's episode, we're all over the infrastructure as code piece. So really excited to jump on that this afternoon or this evening, 5 p.m. BST. You can see it's 12 Eastern Time, 9:30 Indian Time. So come along and join us. It's a live stream, so you can interact, ask your questions, but we've got a whole plethora of content to get through tonight, mainly around that infrastructure as code piece. So come and join us, say hello. Really looking forward to that one. And big shout out to my guest last week on In Conversation With. So Chris Gill, thank you for coming on and being an awesome guest. It was fantastic to say hello and catch up with you. But it is Friday. We've got another episode coming out tonight. So it's with none other than Mr. Jeff Wooters. So Jeff comes on and we talk a whole heap of things. Actually, we get a little bit close to the bone. You know, there's certainly contentious issues across community, and we kind of touch upon that in this conversation with Jeff. So please do join us. That will be going out at 6:30 p.m. So just after the live stream there tonight. Really great to have Jeff on to discuss various aspects of community and bits and pieces around that. So please do join us later on. Really look forward to seeing you then. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, Whistle Stop Tour today. We'll jump on over now. We'll have a quick look at the Azure news and updates for the week. I say that briefly, but I always struggle to find the button to get the news theme up. So is this the one? I think so. Let's go do it. Okay, and welcome to the news section of the show. Yeah, not many news updates for this week. There's only been a few announcements. So without further ado, let's just jump straight through some of those then. So, okay, so first up, we have got the public preview release of the Azure IoT Central REST API. It's gone live, the 22.06.30. Let's just have a quick look, see if there's anything to call out on there. So there's a few key capabilities that have been added. Enrollment groups, so CRUD's support for creating, managing device enrollment groups needed to enable bulk device provisioning. Scheduled jobs, so we can now create scheduled jobs with IoT Central. Dashboards, we can create and manage application dashboard definitions and programmatically define the layout of the tiles on the dashboard. Cool to see. And then unassociated devices, API support for device endpoints on devices that are unassociated or unmodeled without a device template. You can now configure device twin properties or send commands down to those devices. So yeah, some really good advances there in IoT Central on that API. So, okay, cool. Next up, we have got another public preview. Azure Active Directory authentication for exporting and importing managed disks. So Azure already supports disk import and export, lock-in only from a trusted Azure Virtual Network VNet. Using the Azure private link. So for greater security, Microsoft are launching the integration with Azure Active Directory to export and import data from, for the Azure managed disks. This feature enables the system to validate the identity of the requesting user in Azure AD and verify that the user has required permissions to export and import that disk. So it's currently in public preview. There's some links there to articles. If you go onto the Azure news pages, you can take a little look about how to do this, read the documentation, how you can download a VHD file or how you can upload a VHD file to a managed disk. Great to see. A GA announcement, Azure IoT Edge 1.3 is released. Let's have a little look-see. So we've got support for Red Hat Linux, Enterprise Linux 8 on AMD and Intel 64-bit architectures. Edge Hub now enforces that inbound-outbound communication uses minimal TLS version 1.2 by default. Updated runtime modules, the Edge Agent, the Edge Hub, they're all based on .NET 6 now. And the ability to configure device identity, EST identity, and Edge CA certificate auto-renewal before expiration. And there's some various bug fixes and things like that. So if you are doing anything with IoT Edge, I think I might go and update my little Jetson Nano device. I'm running previous version of IoT Edge. Let's just see. So, so 1.2, which will no longer receive security patches or bug fixes. So go and check that out and move on to 1.3 as soon as you can. Next up, generally available Azure Gateway Load Balancer. So it's a fully managed service for you to deploy, scale, and enhance the availability of third-party network virtual appliances in Azure. You can add your favorite third-party appliance, whether it's firewall, inline, DDoS appliance, deep packet inspection system, or even your own custom appliance, into the network path transparently with just with a single click. So cool to see that's gone generally available now. Go and check that up if that's of interest to you. More generally available announcements. So export and device customizations and cloud properties in Azure IoT Central. It's getting a lot of love at the moment, IoT Central, and certainly the world of IoT is getting a lot of love. So there's some great updates there that have been announced in that IoT Central platform. And finally, there's some generally available updates on ASR. So Azure Site Recovery update rollup 62 for July. The update provides following improvements with the latest version of ASR components. So we've got mobility service, added support for Linux OS Azure to Azure, added support for VMware Physical to Azure, and we've got Microsoft Azure Site Recovery Service itself has had updates, and support for configuring proxy bypass rules is now available for Hyper-V and VMware replications using private endpoints, and a whole heap of bug fixes as well. So there we go. That's been your Azure news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you've had a great time. Let's jump back on over. So yes, thanks everybody for tuning in. Quick whistle-stop tour, 15-minute video this week. Everybody, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the weather now. Have a great weekend wherever you are and whatever you're up to this week. And on that note, thanks for tuning in. See you all very soon. Bye for now.